Hello everybody, and welcome to the next episode of New Earth TV Live. Great to see you all here again with me for another wonderful episode to come today. So of course, we're going to start off the broadcast today with some announcements, so let's go ahead and get right into them. Beautiful, sacred geometrical clothing, apparel, and accessories imbued with spirit source energy to heal, rejuvenate, detoxify, and strengthen the body. Shop now at healingcodeshop.com.
The latest revelation in alternative healing has arrived, the Healing Code Cards, a spiritual technology unlike anything else. Through the power of sacred geometry imbued with pure source energy, physical ailments can become eliminated and detoxified from your body. 36 cards specifically designed to work on the major areas of the body, encouraging natural recovery and increased vitality. Working with the cards are easy, and their healing results are profound. Download our collection of free sample cards so you can experience results for yourself. And don't forget to view our customer testimonials. Our printed Healing Code card deck is available now with shipping available worldwide. Visit our website at healingcodecards.com.
And of course, the Adronis Q&A forum is happening this Sunday, June 6th at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Registration is $3.99, a great deal. All right, you will be able to ask personal questions with Adronis, which you cannot do on New Earth TV Live. So again, it's almost kind of like a miniature private session, just in a group capacity with the Adronis Q&A forum. So again, if you're interested, please go to newearthteachings.com, and you can just see this poster here on the homepage. Click on that, and you can register. The event is being recorded, and it's going to also be available on Vimeo on demand too. Okay, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm no doubt going to have some great questions from people. We already got a lot of people signed up for it, so I'm looking forward to this Q&A forum. I have done these in the past, but again, it's always great to bring Adronis through in a group capacity. I would love to see the day when I'm actually able to go like into a community hall again or something of that nature, an auditorium, and actually have Adronis on stage and start getting questions from people in person. That's, of course, the most awesome feeling. But this is pretty awesome too. So I'm looking forward to that. So again, this Sunday at 12 p.m. Pacific, Adronis Q&A forum. Okay. Yeah, wrong button there. I do love that theme song, but okay. Anyways, thank you everybody once again for being here today. It's good to see you all here. And so far I have one person that says hello from Portland. Hello, welcome. So we are going to go ahead and start the broadcast today with some healing. All right, so we're going to do some chakra clearing, and then we're going to do some black ball, white ball healing as well too. I also have an announcement today, later today. I think it might actually be this evening. I'm going to be putting up a new video, okay, and this new video will be about a new technique, okay, a new healing technique. It is the level 2 version of the BCR and TC technique. Okay, it's level 2. It's the next step up, and it's referred to as the clarity technique. Okay, so I'm going to be launching this later tonight. I think, well, probably around there, around this evening, and it'll be kind of like a PowerPoint presentation, introduction video to the clarity technique. You guys will actually be quite amazed of how easy it is. All right, if you guys have actually been working with the BCR technique for quite some time as well, this will be a cinch. This is actually easier than the BCR technique. My God, it actually gets easier than the BCR technique. Yes. All right, so if you've been doing the BCR technique for a while now, you know about the breath work, going into the calmness, going into the reinforcement, going into your perfect space. The perfect space is the key for this, right? So when you basically go into your space and you make it blissful, you make it powerful, you make it filled with love, you're going to be able to clear away the ignorance, conflict issues, no problem. And the more you do that, the deeper you're going to get into self-realization. Okay, so I'm looking forward to launching this tonight on the YouTube channel. Please check it out. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with healing. Then afterwards, we're going to go into Q&A. So I know you guys are already kind of piling on the questions. I'll be sharing some other information as well too before we get into the Q&A, particularly relating to current events. Okay. Also, this Sunday, I have the next newsletter coming out. Okay, so the New Earth newsletter. Now, if you guys are still very confused about how to sign up for the newsletter, go to newearthteachings.com/newsletter. Okay, that's newearthteachings.com/newsletter. You'll see the sign up form there. Just leave your name and your email, and you'll be added to the list. It's another exciting New Earth newsletter coming this Sunday. All right, so I'm looking forward to that. Basically looking into the blueprint of the ego. It may be surprising about what people discover about what the ego actually is. Okay, so basically it's a entity. Okay, but I'll be going more into that. Okay, as we go into the newsletter this Sunday. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here with some chakra healing. So just getting yourselves nice and comfortable. Making sure your back is nice and erect. You can place your hands upon the center of your chest if you want, or just put them on your lap. And we're going to take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Okay, deep breath in. Deep breath out. And one more time, deep breath in. And deep breath out. And just relax yourselves now, breathing normally. And we're going to start off with the root chakra, okay, connected to the gonads, connected to the genitals, okay, the testes, the ovaries, all right. And in your mind, you can see the color red, just kind of a nice medium tone red color there, all right. And we're just going to focus on that red color, or again, focusing on the gonads, or kind of a combination of both if you wish, okay. And we're going to do an Om chant directly into the root chakra, okay. So with eyes closed, taking a deep breath in to Om chant. Om. Okay, moving our awareness now up into the sacral chakra or navel chakra, colored orange, connected to the late egg or hilar cells, okay, the cells, the tissue around the reproductive system, okay, around the testes and the ovaries. Seeing it again as a medium orange color. Deep breath in. Okay, moving on now to the solar plexus chakra, colored medium yellow, connected to the adrenal glands. Taking a deep breath in. Okay, moving on now to the heart chakra, colored green like grass, connected to the thymus gland, that butterfly-shaped gland. Taking a deep breath in. Okay, moving on now to the throat chakra, connected to the thyroid gland, ice blue or sky blue. Inhale. Alright, moving on now to the third eye chakra, okay, connected to the pineal gland, ocean blue or indigo ray, whatever you prefer. Inhale. And finally, moving on to the crown chakra, connected to the pituitary gland, colored violet. Inhale. Alright, let's take one last deep breath in and out. Alright, how are your chakra centers? How are your glands feeling? Feeling nice and clean, spick and span, right? Like you just put harmonious spiritual Mr. Clean on them. Okay. That's the Om chanting, all right? That's the spiritual Mr. Clean. Very good. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to the black ball, white ball, okay, transmutation edition for this healing. So next step is just, once again, just straightening yourself out. If you need to take a moment just to kind of stretch, you can go ahead and do that. You can kind of wring out your hands, maybe slowly rotate your neck, nice and slowly, nice and gently. Maybe shrug your shoulders up and down. There we go. Good. You can also make fists with the toes as well too. All right, now we're going to see the scanning beam. Okay, so we're just going to see like a green light at the top of the head, just slowly making its way down the body. As it's slowly making its way down the body, we're just being aware of any tension, any strain that is seen in this manifestation as black liquid dense energy. Okay, so any tension, any conflict, any strain that you're feeling within the body, as that green light beam goes all the way down to the bottom of the feet. And if you're noticing any pockets of that black liquid dense energy there, just be aware of that. So we now place our hands upon the center of the chest, and we're seeing the black ball contained here in the center. Okay, as that black ball is there, we're now just going to see a black root or black roots coming out and connecting directly to those areas of tension or stress. So like I said, if you have a headache, if you have a sore neck, a sore back, right, a sore knee, right, if you're feeling like you got stomach upset, wherever you're feeling tension, stress, pain, injury, stiffness, etc. Okay, just see it as a patch of that black liquid dense energy, and it's just seeing that root now going to that area and just wrapping around that entire area or areas that you have. Okay, I'll just give you guys a moment to do this now. Okay, so now that we have those areas within ourselves wrapped around with the black root, we're now going to do the apologetic affirmation. Okay, so you guys can close your eyes and you can repeat after me or just listen to me as I say it. All right, so deep breath in. I apologize to my body for being neglectful regarding this condition or these conditions. I ask for my body's forgiveness as well as its assistance to clear away these conditions, releasing them to spirit, to be purified and forgiven in totality. And so it is. Okay, so now that we have done that, we're now seeing the black liquid dense energy moving up into the black ball in the center of the chest. Okay, so I'll just give you guys a moment now as you just feel that black liquid dense energy of tension, of stress, of stiffness, of pain, of injury, all of that black liquid dense energy being put into the black ball. Okay, so as we see all that liquid, that black liquid energy into the black ball now, we're now going to transmute that energy. We're going to turn it into love energy, all right? So as we do this now, we have our hands upon the center of our chest. We're now going to go into the mind, all right? So you can either, whether you want your eyes opened or eyes closed, it's up to you. But I just want you to think of some very, very positive memories, positive energy, positive thoughts, positive visions, positive imagination, positive dreams, right? And just thinking of things that are just very blissful to you, very happy. It's basically like you're feeling the perfect moment, okay? As you feel that perfect moment, you're basically taking the energy of that perfection and you're putting it into a bubble, okay? Kind of like a soap bubble. So you're just filling that bubble with that happy thought, with that blissful feeling, with that perfect moment, and you're just putting it directly into the black ball. Okay? As it goes into the black ball, it pops. As it pops, that pure white light love energy mixes together with the black ball. Okay? And we just continue to repeat that. We think of a positive thought, a positive energy. Okay? We think of a perfect moment. We put that into the bubble and putting that into the black ball, letting it pop. And we continue to do this. All right? If you don't want to use the bubbles, and basically just see a root, again, going right into the black ball, and just funnel all of that pure love energy directly into the black ball, turning it white. All right? Go into these very happy scenarios. Right? Go into these bliss states. Imagine yourself in a beautiful oasis. Imagine seeing your loved ones as their higher selves, speaking to you, just embracing you, so happy that you're here, right? Welcoming you into your perfect space, feeling this love, this bliss, this happiness, this joy that is just so overwhelmingly brilliant, okay? And we're just funneling that energy directly into the black ball. And now we're seeing that black ball turning white. And with all of that white light energy now contained in the, I just call it now the white ball, we're again going to see the roots coming out and just connecting to those exact same areas where the black liquid dense energy was previously. Okay? And now we're just funneling all of that white liquid, all of that loving energy directly into these areas. Okay? And just feeling that bliss, feeling that love, feeling that happiness as you feel all of those old stiffnesses, injuries, tensions, stress melting away. Okay? Just like Adronis has taught you guys, when you're vortexing that energy, you're seeing it in a solid state, you're vortexing, it's becoming liquid, it's becoming vapor, it's becoming energy. That's what we're doing here. As we're putting that white liquid into these areas, like I said, you can either rub it counterclockwise or you can tap. And as you're tapping, nice and gently, not like nice and gently, as you're tapping, you're seeing that effect. You're seeing it moving from its solid state into liquid, okay, into vapor, into energy. Okay, very good. There you go, right? How hard is that, guys? That's super simple, right? So please take the time, right? I know we may feel like we have busy lives. There is nothing more important than you claiming your heavenly sovereignty, okay? There is nothing more important than you claiming self-sovereignty. There is nothing more important than you knowing I. That is the most important thing beyond anything in this earthly plane for you to look into. Okay? So many people are so completely enamored with earthly things, with earthly materials, with earthly matters. They're not important. They don't matter. It's true. When you go into self-realization, when you move into the removal of your ignorance, and you are completely in the state of I, you are God. You are sovereign. You are the self. You are the Most High. But you see, you cannot identify I through the body. You cannot identify I through the material things. You cannot identify I through the earthly joys. You cannot identify I through the mind, or through the thoughts, or through the feelings, or through the emotions. You cannot identify I through the universe. You cannot identify I through the multiverse. You cannot even identify I through creation. You have to go up into the creative. You have to go up into the unmanifest. You have to go into the invisible, into the inaudible, into the unknowable. And therefore you are in clarity with the I. That's the idea. It is far beyond anything pertaining to earthly matters. This again is what the ancient masters have been teaching us for many thousands of years. Know the I. Know the true self. Know God. Because as you know I, you know God. As you know God, you know the self. As you know self, you know the Creator. They're all the same. You can call it Buddha. You can call it Allah. You can call it Creator. You can call it God. You can call it the Mother. You can call it the Father. It's all the same. It's all a source, right? It's to know that. That's greater than any single question that you guys have. That is greater than any form of earth realization that you guys have. Moving up into the I. Know the I, right? So like what Ramana Maharshi has talked about is about going into self-inquiry. Who am I? I. Right? This is on my monitor, and I'm seeing this all the time. I. So when you truly discover that, all your questions become answered, right? All your questions basically become dissolved. It's just these intellectual curiosities. In really looking into the nature of I, none of them will last. They're transient, right? Just something for you guys to consider, to look into. All right? So as I was saying before I get into Q&A today, because I'm going to be getting into that here in just a couple of minutes, just talking about current events, like I was saying. So I guess the big news is around the internet right now. If I'm going back into the earthly plane here, into the earthly matters, just to talk about this briefly, we're seeing how the idea of this current agenda that we're going through right now is indeed a falsehood, right? There's a certain quote-unquote doctor who has had their emails leaked, right? And we're seeing the idea of the facial diaper, the facial underwear, again being a complete and total joke, all right? So again, this is all just part of a very, very large scam. Again, I've talked about this in the past. I've had to stay quiet about it because, you know, there's a lot of censorship going on and so forth. But I think now, you know what? I don't care. Really, the whole idea, this entire agenda, has been one of complete and total desperation. There's actually a person whose YouTube channel I can also recommend because I've been looking at her videos recently. And she has a lot of great information. Her source is very similar on par with mine because a lot of stuff that I've shared, she shared as well too. Okay, her YouTube channel is called Tarot by Janine. Okay, I'm just going to write that out in the chat right now for you guys. Okay, Tarot by Janine. She is amazing. She is a great channel. She is a great tarot reader. As I looked at her videos, again, I've only discovered her recently, I was just amazed. I said, she's getting some really good information, right? There's a lot of stuff that I've been getting, and I'm just seeing her getting at the same time. It's great. There's also other topics I haven't even looked into that she's looked into, and I confirm, because I don't just, you know, blindly believe what another person is saying. I go in and I check in myself, and it's resonance. So she is a very, very good tarot reader. She's a very good channel, okay? So I recommend her channel, okay? So, like I said, I've recommended Forrest Knudsen, right, because he's a great teacher. I recommend Janine because she's a great tarot reader, and she's very accurate, okay? So you can go ahead and check her out. Anyways, as I was saying, because I've just found some commonality with that, there's been a lot of desperation pertaining to this entire agenda, and this entire agenda was made very, very prematurely, right? The whole idea of the manufacturing of a certain virus through a certain laboratory is very much the case, but it was a very, very premature launch. The reason why this has been a premature launch is because since about the past few years, a lot of the, I'll call them the dark players, a lot of the dark players have been, you could say, losing a battle, because a lot of their own higher ranked officials have basically been turncoat. And there's been, again, a secret battle behind the scenes, secret skirmishes behind the scenes. And so again, in 2019, it was all part of their plan to basically go and release this particular manufactured virus in a certain laboratory, but it was launched prematurely because, again, it did not have all the defenses that they wanted to have, basically making it immune to sunlight, for one example, which they could not do. So again, the idea of everything that we've been experiencing here since early 2020, with the idea of wearing the facial diaper, with the idea of social distancing between each other, right? So again, I'm not really telling you guys anything new here for those of you who have done your research and those of you who have looked into this, right? We know that when we wear the facial diaper, this is compromising your immune system. This is compromising your respiratory system. This is going to make you more and more sick. The idea of staying indoors, not going outside, cleaning everything, right? Getting your Clorox bleach out, your Lysol out, and just bleaching everything and cleaning everything, trying to prevent bacteria and germs from basically entering your body, preventing your body from building up its immune system, creating social distancing. The whole idea of social distancing was to eliminate herd immunity, okay? You can't touch anybody, you can't be near anybody, you have to be out of range where your breath can even touch a person. Can't touch, can't do any of that stuff. This was all an attack pertaining to herd immunity, preventing herd immunity from happening. Can't share dishes, can't share anything, right? Can't have any of that close human physical contact. Got to wear gloves, right? Got to touch elbows. All this ridiculous stuff. That was an attack on herd immunity, okay? So you basically have attack in regards to your immune system through the idea of respiratory problems, through the facial diaper, through the idea of keeping your distance from people so that you do not bring about herd immunity, right? And then, of course, getting the prick to finish you off, okay? That's basically was their entire routine. They had to create this entire routine to compensate for a very, very faulty, premature, lab-created virus that was not able to, that would not be able to pull off what they wanted to pull off. And so they had to compensate that utilizing these particular forms of psychological programs through a facial diaper, through the idea of social distancing, through the idea of inoculation, right? So this is the whole plan. All of this is going to come out. This is just the beginning, right? If we see a certain person's emails being leaked, that's nothing. That's nothing, guys. There's a lot more to come, okay? The inoculation people are going to get attacked, okay? A lot of their stuff is going to come out. They think that they're immune in regards to lawsuits, but they're not going to be immune to exposures. And that's coming next, okay? The idea of the social distancing, all of that will be debunked as well, too. For those who, again, with ears to hear and brains to listen. So, again, I don't usually do this, but I will say this, okay? Because for the past year and a half, near a year and a half now, we've been going through a lot of personal attacks. Now, a lot of the personal attacks have not been from government officials or people running censorship campaigns, but it has been coming from your own family. It is coming from your own friends, your co-workers, your bosses, etc. Whenever you try to educate a person in regards to this, you're a tinfoil hatter. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're out of your mind. You're insane. And we have lost a lot of friendships. We have had a lot of divides between family just because those people believed that nothing like this could ever happen. And now you're seeing this particular doctor's emails being leaked. And now you guys, who were the hard-headed people who basically hurt your family members, hurt your friends, because they were trying to tell you this, well, here's the thing. You owe them an apology. You owe them a gigantic apology through your ignorance that you have brought forward. This is exactly what we have been talking about. Since day one, since this whole thing started, this is exactly what I was saying. It's a psyop. There's a facial diaper compromising your immune system. There is social distancing, preventing herd immunity, keeping you at a distance, cleaning everything up, trying to keep you inside to completely injure you, injure your immune system, affect your health tremendously. You have had doctors coming out who have had so much ridicule about them in the press, in the media, who have been saying the exact same thing since day one. Everybody who has been hard-headed with ignorance, you need to pick up the phone, you need to drop an email, you need to go on Facebook, whatever you got to do, and you got to talk to those people who you ridiculed, who are telling you this stuff since day one. But you We're too hard in the heart and too hard in the brain to hear it. You owe them an apology. All right? So that's what I want to share, because it's just important that that gets out, right? And not a lot of people can say that. So, right? I'll be the voice of the voiceless, and I will say that. Okay? You owe those people who you called conspiracy theorists, tinfoil hatters, who think, oh, come on, you're telling me that there's this whole facial diaper thing isn't going to work. It's going to block the virus. And then all of a sudden you start reading the medical doctors' emails, right? The leaks that are happening. Like I said, that's just the beginning. This isn't the only thing that's going to happen. There's a lot more to come, right? There's a lot more stuff that's going to be bombshells that are going to be dropped on this, right? So again, it's very, very important that we're working together on this, right? And for those who have been very, very hard-headed, maybe they're able to look at themselves now and say, okay, well, if this is true, then there must be some other things that are happening. This is all part of a greater awakening, right? But it's being able to be humble, right? And talking to that person who this hard-headed person has hurt, right? Families have been divided. Guys, if I could go through every single email of people messaging me, right, there'd be hundreds of emails. Brad, I feel like I've lost my family because of this agenda. I feel like my family won't even talk to me if I'm just so much as doubting or questioning this. I've had people running to me because they can't talk to their family, because they can't talk to their friends. I've had hundreds of emails like that throughout 2020 and throughout 2021. They feel they had nowhere to turn. It was psychologically damaging them. It was harming them in ways that I can't even describe. And again, that's to the hard-hearted, the heavy-hearted people and the hard-minded people. You owe your family an apology. You owe your friends an apology. You owe these people who you've termed as conspiracy theorists, you owe them an apology. Right? They were looking out for the best interests. And again, you have basically trashed them. You have no idea of how much psychological damage you have done to these people. You better pick up the phone. You better drop an email. You better go see them. And you say, I apologize. Because that is being humble. And that's where the strength of a true warrior begins. All right? Oh, yeah. Nidon says here, oh, Brad, one out of my kids listened to me. Well, I'm glad one kid listened to you. All right? That's good. When I was delivering this stuff on Facebook, right, before the censorship was even getting more intense, I was getting attacked as well too, right? I had friends for many years who were just attacking me because I was talking about this stuff, right? Talking about these agendas and everything like that. I've been attacked, and I know many of you guys here on the chat right now, I'm sure many of you have been heavily attacked as well too. So there definitely needs to be a humility from those who have attacked you, and again, providing that form of apology. Because again, we are not here, guys, to, and I'm talking to the hard-headed, right? We're not here to basically throw this stuff in your face to confuse you, right? We're letting you know we are the researchers, we are the intuitives, we are the warriors. We do this work. This is not something that we're just making up because we're bored, okay? Many of us have spent so many years looking deeply into all of these matters, while you guys are just busy with your 9-to-5 and picking up the kids and driving around and playing ball in the park and not looking at these things, turning on the TV, getting programmed, going to sleep, and having conflicting dreams, waking up and doing the same thing again on permanent repeat. While there are others going very, very deeply into all of this, expanding themselves, realizing what's happening, and they are able to share this because they care. These people share this information to you because they care. It's not to scare you. It's to let you know, let's work together. Let's unify. Let's come together as a group. And we can combat this, right? Whether we do a deep meditation, a guided meditation, whether we go out and we protest, whatever it is that we do it together as a group. Oh no, I can't do that. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're a tinfoil hat. Dr. Fauci said this. Dr. Fauci said that. Or this person said that. And this because he's on CNN. Right? So again, I hope that many of you who have been very, very abusive to your family, to your friends regarding this whole ordeal, you pick up the phone, you talk to them, you apologize, and you become humble. All right? Okay, guys, let's go ahead and move on now into Q&A. I had to get that out, right? It's been sitting with me for about a year and a half, close to a year and a half now. And it's time that that came out, right? And shared that for people, because again, other people just don't really have a voice. They just want to say, oh, I don't want to start anything, right? Or if I try to post anything this on social media, I'll get attacked. Well, don't worry, I'll be your voice, right? So you can share this video around if you need to, and that goes out to the hard-headed. And yes, I'm speaking to you hard-headed ones, all right? Give an apology, be humble. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start with Q&A. So I know you guys have some questions here for Adronis or for myself, and that's great. We'll go down the list. Like I said, if you guys do want to offer a contribution, that'll put you first in line for your question. Okay, so contributions get priority attention. So just starting up at the top here. Hello from USA, Louisiana. Lotus, thank you. And Northern California, great. Okay, we have a question here from Len Herrer. Question for Adronis. Some time back, Adronis had refused to answer a question quoting safety concerns for the channel. What topics should us light workers steer clear of discussing for safety's sake? No, Len. Adronis has talked about this quite extensively, okay? These are in quite a few of my videos when he's looking into the idea of safety concerns. First of all, if I thought it was a risk in any particular way for me to channel Adronis, I wouldn't be doing it, okay? You do not have to look for safety when you are connecting with an entity who you feel trust with, okay? This goes all the way back into my channeling videos about learning how to channel as well too. You are testing your entity, okay? If you're bringing in a consciousness, you guys have seen me do this when I'm doing empathic interfacing live. Remember the 3 tiers, okay? Your personal love, universal love, God love, and you're making sure that the entity is working together, is moving up together with you as you're there. You do not need to concern about safety if you are completely in that state of love with that entity, and that entity is following you up. When you feel that genuine love, you emit a field, okay? That energy field, again, for those who are very intuitive, can be felt, such as Athena, such as Adronis, okay? They tap into that, and they're rising up with me. I go up high, 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 and they're rising up with me. Where would you need safety for that? You would not. Okay, you are basically only asking that if there's shady entities or shady characters. Why are you channeling that? Okay, here's a recommendation that I have for you guys. Do not even think of channeling until you have been able to overcome your fears. Right? You should not be channeling at all. You are not bringing in other entities if you have a dirty heart. Okay, this is not about safety. This is not about protection. This is about vibration. As I've talked about, like I said, many videos on this. Look at the empathic interfacing live videos where I've talked about this, talking about how I channel Adronis through events and so forth, okay? Now, first of all, him and I are the same soul. Adronis and I are the same soul. So it's like you're talking to the same soul here, just in different incarnations, okay? Adronis is a higher intelligence, a higher dimensional consciousness, okay? But he does not really have a physical form that we would understand. He is able to sift through all the different dimensions. I'll be bringing him in here in a minute, okay? But again, if you guys are really just getting into safety, you're thinking wrong, okay? That's an incorrect way of thinking. It's not about safety. It's about vibration. It's about love. If you are paranoid about, oh, I'm going to get taken over, I'm going to get hurt, if I channel this entity, it's going to be horrible, well, then you should not be channeling at all. Right? You want to make sure that you are alleviating your fears. You have fears, you have concerns, you have certain forms of anguish within your heart. You are not to channel with a dirty heart. That heart's got to be clean. It's got to be spick and span. And this is what I see happening with so many channelers, right? I see a lot of them, and I can just kind of see about how they compose themselves, and I can see that they're fragile. You should not be channeling. Okay, that's just my own perspective on it. Right? You have to make sure that your heart is clear. You need to spend time doing your inner work, right? Whether you're doing BCR technique, TC technique, EQ method, etc., even with a new clarity technique that I'm going to launch here tonight. All right, just doing that inner work and cleaning yourself out. Now when you start going within, you feel this array of love. It's beautiful. You feel these colors, you feel this light, you feel this energy. You just have this feeling. And you may connect to an angelic consciousness. You may connect to a other dimensional consciousness. You may connect to the higher self. You may connect to the I. All right? But there's that love. There's that natural security within yourself, not safety. Safety is a buzzword. Safety is the equivalent of hope. Okay? Whenever you're saying, "Oh, I want to be safe." No. You just have hope. That's it. You're playing with the delusion of hope, and you're playing with the delusion of safety. This is why everybody says, "Oh, stay safe, stay safe." It just may as well be saying, "Oh, be hopeful. Be hopeful, be hopeful." Right? Stay in hope, stay in hope. Stay safe, stay in hope, stay in hope. It's a distraction. Okay? When you are safe, no, that's not giving you that. When you feel secure, that feels great. There's like a big shield there. It's like you're wearing all this divine armor. You feel so completely content. Okay? Look into inner security, not safety. Look into the power of your faith, the power of your love, not hope. All right? So that's what I can share all together with that. Adronis will come through here, and he will talk about the topic of safety concerns, or light workers steer clear of what to discuss for safety's sake. Okay? Because that is a good question, and you have a very good question here. So I want to bring Adronis in, and he can share some insight on that. Terra, Soul Star, Sirius, Adronis. We are here. At this time, we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning into this broadcast through your internet collective consciousness. We thank you very much, Len, for your question regarding the idea of safety, or is there certain topics that should not be discussed for safety's sake? We have to understand, again, that if you are truly in harmony together with the entity, they are leading you. Think of the idea of you being in the passenger seat of a car, and they are now being the driver, and they are taking you to these places. Just have your eyes open as well as your ears. They know through the symbiotic connection that you have, that connection that fuses the information of flow that comes together with you in that moment. They know where to steer you. They are not ever putting you intentionally in danger. Because again, if that does take place, then there is a mistrust connection here. You are connecting with, as Brad shared, with a shady consciousness. So it's very, very important, again, that you are working with yourselves, that you are developing yourself inwards. If you do not know how to interpret these energies, even though you wish to become a channel, do not channel. You must be aware about what love feels like. You must be aware of where the shadiness lies. And if you are even slightly concerned about that, do not channel. You allow yourself to go within. You allow yourself to do this deeper work, to clean out the heart, to clean out the fear, to clean out the inadequacies and the insecurities. As that becomes clear, you now feel different. You shift into that energy of love and saying, I feel the love now. I feel this lightness. I feel this joy. I feel this happiness. And that's what you're staying with as you connect with another consciousness, really just another branch of your being, connecting together with you. And now you have a conversation. Now flow comes through you. And when there are matters discussed, they know where to take you that is not putting you in any particular form of risk, because that's not what love involves. Love does not involve risk. It is anti-risk. It is complete and total trust. It is complete and total harmony. So the idea here is firstly to work on yourself. Some will in that sense put the blame to the entity. No, you're the magnetic attractor here. You're the one that's actually bringing about a shady character into your field. Again, you are sending out, you are projecting a particular energetic that may represent insecurity or the longing for the idea of being safe. Whenever you feel like you want to be safe, again, you're still sharing insecurities because you feel that you can be attacked so easily. So again, that is not where the idea of wanting to channel belongs. It is to clear yourself. It is to do inner work. If we ever felt that Brad was not ready to channel us, we would have never have shown up. During that time of 2008 when he connected with us, we knew he was ready because he spent every single day practicing the art of channeling. He spent hours on it. He thought about it constantly, and he did his inner work. If he did not do that, we would not have introduced ourselves to him. Because again, he'd start pulling in these other particular shady characters. And again, he would realize this is not going to be very effective because I still need to work with myself. Well, again, this is where we say that to all of you who want to channel, who want to be mediums. You have to do the inner work. You have to know what love feels like. You have to know, you have to discern where there is shadiness within yourself. Because where there is shadiness within yourself, you are going to be an attractor for another shady character. Please be aware of this. Again, when you are connecting with a harmonious consciousness, where you are one, it's a driver's seat. It's a trip. And the last thing that they would ever do is put you in harm's way. In fact, there have been questions that we have received through many of you in times past that we were not able to answer because it would put many of you in jeopardy. And we have steered clear with that. And we have told the person flat out, we cannot answer that. If we were to answer that, it would put you in jeopardy. And that's not what we're here to do. How is that possible? The love connection that we hold between the channel and ourselves and all of you whom we connect with. All right? That is not safety. That is vibration. We thank you very much. Okay, thank you, Len, for your question. Let's move on now to a donation here from Fatima. Thank you for your generous donation there. Hi, Brad. Can you ask Adronis to give us his input on what's happening in Iran? Okay. Yes, let me go ahead and take a moment to connect with Adronis, and he can look into the Iran situation. Okay, one moment. We thank you very much for your question, Fatima. Regarding the situation pertaining to Iran, an overthrow. Please do not believe what you are seeing in the media. All right? These are exaggerations. These are propaganda. What is actually happening is an internal overthrow pertaining to political leadership. Leadership is changing. And again, as this happens, there can be heated up exchanges. There again is the idea where the platform itself starts to get hot. There's intensities taking place. Really what's happening is that there's already a roundup, a taking down of certain political leaders. The leaders that many of you see, particularly in Iran in that way, are not, in that sense, the genuine people. All right? They are not the genuine people. We're referring to royalty figures. We're referring to political figures. Many of them, in that sense, can actually be doubles, or in that sense, it can be used in other forms of doctored degrees. Many of those who once had a very strong stroke pertaining to political say and political authority or royal authority are no longer on those thrones. What is happening right now is a complete and total change of the guard, we will say. Now, it is not just through Iran that this is happening, but it is happening through many places around the world, many territories, many countries, many nations. The idea of what you would consider to be your own typical leaders really aren't even there anymore. They are under the state of detainment. All right? We would say that approximately 90% of what you would know as the corrupt dark players, as Brad has shared, are basically detained right now. You only have about 10% or so that actually remain. And the ones that do remain are in hiding, which means they are not really in their home countries. All right? They are scattered throughout particular areas of your planet, hiding. Some of them may actually be hiding in plain sight. But nonetheless, the idea of the power of authority that they once had, they no longer have, because everything is being taken away from them. It is being confiscated. It is being detained. That's what's taking place. So Iran is going through a change of the guard. It's going through political shifts. It's going through a complete and total turnaround. But again, this will disguise itself under the cloak of upheaval and intensities to basically, in that sense, create the smoke or the fog, where behind the smoke and the fog, a lot of changes, a lot of transformations are taking place. So give your love, give your support to those who are afraid right now. That is where your call is needed the most. Go into your space. Bring yourself into the highest degrees of love and disperse that love to your loved ones and to around these countries. All right? We thank you. Okay, thank you, Fatima, for your question. And thank you for your contribution. I appreciate that. Okay, let's go down here a bit more. Okay, here's one from Alina. Alina says, hello, Brad. A question for me or for Adronis. Have the people woken up now time enough? Have the people waking up now time enough to do the inner shadow work and advance in the process of spiritual development sufficiently to ascend? Well, again, you have to understand what ascension is, guys, because many of you are confused by that. But I'll get to that in a minute, okay? Yes, this is exactly why there is such a powerful shift upon the planet. Adronis has talked about this as well, too. That we have now reached the point where so many of us can reach these incredible transformative states of being, where we are again moving into, I guess you could say, like these strength workers, right? We call them light workers or compassion workers in that sense, but really being these buffers, these platforms of strength that we are. We are certainly there. But again, what's keeping a lot of us held back is our own fear. We make our own emotions that are completely intangible to ourselves greater than our resolve to love, to be happy, to be joyful. And this all has to do with the ego program. Like I said, I'm going to be talking about it extensively in the newsletter this Sunday. Okay. Now, the ego program, again, is something that has been implanted into every single human being. It is actually in our genetics. And it's actually, in that sense, an unnatural form. Okay. It activates. And again, a lot of this activation comes from turmoil. It comes from emotions, right? It comes from when there's a lot of conditioning in this. And again, it breeds. The ego is an alien, okay? It's an entity. But I will be talking about this a lot more. This is even through Ramana Maharshi's admittance as well, too. He said that the ego itself is nothing more than a parasitic alien entity that has injected itself into ourselves, right? And we have to basically shut it down ourselves. And to shut it down involves love, involves happiness, involves joy. When you are dealing with the ego, everybody, this is not a natural energy. This is alien. This is inorganic. All right? It would not surprise me if every single human being has a particular type of, again, DNA implant that they actually come into the planet with. It may actually transfer between parents. However it happens, that I don't know. But it's an implant that remains dormant. It may just be through the idea of the engineering of DNA from a 12-strand species to a 2-strand species, right? But there is that little hook within the DNA, and that is an unnatural, inorganic program. When you guys are behaving through the ego, you are completely acting unnaturally. It is like a demon, in the best way I could put it. Like I said, I'm going to be going into more detail in the newsletter. But I was just happy to hear Ramana Maharshi talking about it through one of his talks, where this is what I knew. Like, I felt that, for quite some time, that the ego is something completely unnatural. It has been implanted into us. It is an alien, really. It's an alien construct, right? So again, it's basically that a lot of these beings who have been the tamperers of DNA have basically implanted this into the modern day human. Every single person is affected. 100% of the population is affected by this, okay? But the good news is that this can be turned off. This is why we do the inner work, okay? So Alina, this is kind of what's getting to your question about doing the shadow work and advancing in the process of spiritual development sufficiently to ascend. Now, the true ascension is killing the ego. So this is where the idea of ego death is talked about a lot through many different forms of circles, right? At the time, in the older days, I would say, I didn't really subscribe to the idea of the death of the ego because I was still thinking it was something else. But it is actually some type of entity. It is some type of program, an alien, an inorganic thing that is contained in our DNA, and it can be killed, okay? It can be destroyed. It can be eliminated. Great masters have talked about this, about how this is done. This is why we go to the I, right? We basically transcend the ego, and anytime it comes up, we completely clear it away. We eliminate it. We work with the higher state. We work with love. We work with compassion. We work with joy, but we work with the strength of God within ourselves, because God is natural. It's who we are, right? So to ascend really is to completely abolish the ego from within yourself entirely. And you are living as God. You are living as I. You are living as the self. That's the true ascension, which means you're still going to have a physical body. You're still going to be walking this plane, but you are walking this plane as I am, right? You have I. You have God. You have the self. You have M. You have the manifestation. You have the idea of man taking action, walking this plane, doing the work of I through the M, right? So you want to be the I am. That's the cure. That's the cure past the entire ego. Does everybody have the power to do this? Yes. Is everybody going to do this? No. Because again, they're still caught up in the matrix of delusion, the matrix of distortion. There are certain people upon this planet that are going to basically spend hundreds of thousands or even millions of years before they even get to that. Okay? You can see that with certain people, that they're just all about survival, they're about materialism, they run around, they try and get all these earthly things, they try and get lots of money, they try to buy their palaces, they try to buy big expensive cars, and they just want to make more money and more money and more money, and they hoard. Okay? That's that alien AI, or whatever it may be, that alien ego that's again clicked on and again going full bore, feeding off emotions, right? So man has been contaminated by this ego implant that is alien and inorganic in nature for many thousands of years, all right? So this is, again, we are able to remedy this just through like what I've been talking to you guys about, working with the BCR-TC technique, working with the EQ method, working with the black ball, white ball technique, right? Working with your notebook, okay? And again, the clarity technique to come later. So this is a very, very real situation, guys. I'm not saying any of this stuff to scare you. This is being admitted by the masters. The masters are admitting this, right? This is, again, even what Jesus talks about, is that people who are basically possessed by a demon. Why do you think so many of the masters talk about, well, when a person talks about a demon, they're talking about the ego. When they're talking about Satan, they're talking about the ego. When they're talking about the devil, they're talking about the ego. They're talking about Lucifer. They're talking about all these things. Ego, 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 ego. It's an inorganic alien implant contained within our own genetics that comes online and basically tries to suppress us. Right? It's a suppression because it gets fed off emotions, it feeds off all these characteristics of conditions and limitations. And I'm kind of giving my article away here, but what the hell? But I'll still be writing it. But this is exactly what it does, right? It's an alien component within ourselves. It's an entity, really. It's like an entity, or kind of like a non-organic entity program. You could say it's almost like an AI, right? So ego would be the closest thing to what we would know within ourselves as the Antichrist. Okay? Everyone has it. No human being is spared from this. So again, the key to liberating yourself from it is to do the inner work, is to do the shadow work, is to work with the I, is to be the I, right? That's the cure. That's the antidote. Love is the antidote. Love cures all. Okay? So thank you, Alina, for your question. Okay, I got 2 contributions here. I'm not too sure which one is first. Let me go with Eleazar. Oh, thank you. Just a donation. I appreciate that. And Lydia, thank you for your contribution too, both of you. It's been said that 2023 will be a crisis year in physical health for humanity. Can you offer any insight on this? Well, can't really, because 2023 is not here yet, okay? Guys, that's just a theory, okay? Unless something actually shows up, you're going to know for sure. All right? Now, what I can say is just in regards to momentum, 2022 is going to be a year of renewal, okay? It's a rebirth year. Really, there's no more power that these dark players have anymore, okay? Now, here's something that I think that will put a lot of your minds at ease. The COVID-19 agenda was their granddaddy PSYOP event. That's it. That's as far as they will go. They can't go any further. Why? Because they don't have command. They don't have authority. They don't have their resources. Their toys are being taken away, and many of them are being detained, imprisoned. Some are even being executed. Okay? The great majority of the people that once ran this planet into the ground and basically lied to us, manipulated us, performed all these heinous acts, right? Pedophilia, satanic worship, etc., are basically out of the picture now. About 90%, just like Adronis was saying. There's only a little bit left, and that's going down as well too as a sinking ship. Okay? We're basically just seeing the Titanic right now. It's up in the air. It's very, very, very slowly going down. Are there still certain things to work with? Yes, because there's minions, there's riffraff, right, that are not very much in higher command, but they are very much, this is all just a dark cult, everybody. Okay, it's a religion. Okay, even though the leaders are being taken out of the picture, they're still the followers, right? And they're going to try and take positions of command. They're going to try and take positions of authority. They're going to try and do counteractions. So this is why it's going to take a couple of years to really smooth the waters up until around, I'd say, late 2024, early 2025, when I was looking at the past predictions I'm doing, right? I'm trying not to make predictions. I just call them sharings. So I'm not getting into it. And the reason I call it sharings is just look at my stuff with a grain of salt, okay? I'm not saying you guys have to buy into everything that Brad is sharing right now. These are just my sharings. And like I said, as soon as I share these things, they can become contaminated because you guys are now made into awareness of this. That's how awakening happens, everybody. Awakening is not dancing with rainbows. Awakening is witnessing tragedy. It's witnessing harshness. It's witnessing hardship. It's witnessing challenges, right? It's seeing people in pain. And now we are becoming more aware of this. That's what's awakening you, okay? It's not dancing in rainbow light, okay? It's not singing Kumbaya. It's not doing hallelujah. It's about the idea that when we're going through ground awakening, you are going to see tragedy. You are going to see traumas. You are going to see hardships. You are going to see places burning, right? It's very much like what Jesus said. He said, I did not come on earth to bring peace. I came on earth to bring a sword. For I am here to create division between a father and a son, a mother and a daughter, a mother-in-law and her daughter-in-law, etc. A man's enemies will be members of his own household. Okay? That's exactly what's happened. That's how awakening happens, guys. It's not about running out naked and having a Woodstock and dancing in rainbow light. As nice as that sounds, okay? But again, the whole idea here is that we are going through a very, very harsh time. But that's great. That's the blessing in disguise because it's waking people up. It's basically the universe giving you a little kick in the butt. Some people, it's a big kick in the butt. And letting you know, hey, did you know that this is happening in your world? Do you know that you have a lot of these cultist members running a lot of your governments? No. Well, now you're looking into it. Now you're awakening yourself more to it. You see? It's not coming through rainbows and whiskers on kittens. Okay? It's coming through harshness. It's coming through calamity. It's coming through trauma. It's coming through tragedy. That's how you awaken yourself. It pisses you off at first. And then you start looking into this a lot more. You find resolution, and now you start to feel a lightheartedness coming. Everybody, firstly, is going to be very, very angry, very mad, very PO'd. Look at what's been talked about through my own neck of the woods here regarding Kamloops, regarding royal family taking native children, with native children disappearing, okay? And this has happened by the thousands over the years. And again, so many people have been asleep by this. And like, well, of course, this has been happening for a very, very long time for the indigenous civilizations. They have been completely treated like crap for such a long time. And you guys are just like now getting upset about this? Really? This has been happening for a very, very long time. These are, again, the sleepers. They're just, again, they're doing their 9 to 5. They're trugging along to work, etc., etc. They don't know these things, okay? These lands, right? I'm in British Columbia, Canada, okay? Not my land. Indigenous land. Canada, indigenous land. United States of America, indigenous land, okay? I mean, come on. It's a catch-22 here, right? Of course, there's been so much harm, so much hurt upon the indigenous people of these lands. It's not our land, it's theirs, right? So again, it's like, you guys are surprised about this? Really? This has been happening for hundreds and hundreds of years, and you guys are now just noticing this? But again, it's good that this is taking place, because now, whether better late than never, people are realizing this, and they're seeing exactly this is the power we have given to these cultist politicians, to these dark players. And again, really, I'm not trying to sound biblical here, but it's their judgment day, okay? That's exactly what's happened. I mean, really, biblical prophecy, we're really just seeing it come together. We're seeing in the last days all these things happening, and that's what's taking place. I'm not trying to be an evangelist here, guys, but I mean, it's just really looking at the prophecies by themselves without any religious ties to them. It's exactly what's taking place, right? The corrupt will basically have to answer for everything that they've done. When I talked about the New Earth newsletter last week, I talked about world tribunals that are taking place in secret, okay? The White House is one of those places, okay? A lot of the capitals in host countries, okay? There are certain buildings or certain infrastructures that may even just be legislature, for what I know, are basically holding secret tribunals, okay? All of this is happening. The entire world is forming tribunals relating to these cultists that are being caught. And again, the entire empire is a sinking ship. What can you do? Send love to the world, because you have done your work, right? You're doing your work. You know a lot of these things. You're a researcher. You're an intuitive. You're a psychic. You're a channel. You're a medium. Okay? You know all this stuff. And so it's a matter of just going forward and sharing love with people, right? Going in and really just softening the energy so that people do not have this fear. They know that they're being supported, because we are truly in this together. We're not doing the old buzzwords as what they did for the sham agenda, okay? But we are truly in this together with love, not with ignorance, okay? So thank you, Lydia, for your question. So I don't really have any information on 2023 right now. Don't worry about it, okay? Focus on here and now. Be here and now, rather than worrying about what's happening a couple years down the road. Be here. Make the changes here and now. Everything changes, okay? Thank you for your question. Okay, well, Eleazar. I did pronounce your name properly. You know, Eleazar is the one guy who I've always had a problem trying to pronounce his name properly. Yes, I pronounced your name. Well, thank you for the generous donation as well, too, as a reward. I appreciate that. Blessings to you, my friend. Okay. Matthias says here, why do some people sleepwalk? It's a trance state, okay? When you ask that question, why do people sleepwalk? Trance state. They are actually in trance. They don't even know that their body is moving, okay? Now, some people say, is it some type of possession or something like that? Well, there's many different explanations for it, but basically that person is in trance. So when they're in trance, they may actually get up from their bed, they'll start walking downstairs, they may write something on a piece of paper, right? So it could be the idea no more different than channeling, right? Basically an entity channeling. They're going downstairs, they're taking out a piece of paper, all of a sudden they write something. They go back upstairs, they go to sleep. They wake up the next morning, all of a sudden they see that piece of paper with all this stuff written down on it. It's like, who wrote this? Who wrote this? This is my handwriting. Okay, so it's basically a trance-induced state. Okay, we can do all kinds of things with the mind, right? We can levitate with the mind. We can teleport with the mind. We can trance walk, all right? A lot of things happen through the power of the mind, okay? And sleepwalking is one of them. Okay, so let's go down the list here a bit more. Okay, this is from Swazi. Swazi asks, Adronis, do angels help in our daily lives, in our relationships? Thanks and love to you. All right, thank you very much, Swazi. Let me bring Adronis in. So do angels help in our daily lives and in our relationships, or in our relationships? We thank you very much, Swazi, for your question. Well, we're here right now for you, are we not? So therefore, as we're here, are we not assisting? Are we not helping and addressing your questions in that way? So yes, you are noticing something consciously pertaining to us. You have to understand that the angels are you. All right? They are branches of you. You have to look at yourself as the bulk of the tree here, the tree trunk. And you have many different branches upon this tree trunk. Those branches are your angelic connections. You basically talk about others, when in fact these angels are yourselves. They are, as you would say, highly evolved, highly loving, highly deeply spiritual, non-physical aspects of yourself. Branches of the tree coming in, supporting you all the time. Every time, every moment, you are being supported. This is again what we are attempting to share with many of you. You're never alone. You have the vastness of the universe supporting you every step of the way. You just don't think it's there. It's the ignorance that blinds you from it. But when you start moving into these loving energies, into this happiness and joy, you start feeling it. You feel, oh my goodness, I feel so supported by the universe. I could really just manifest anything right now, and I know I would be supported by it. Yes. It's what the universe is always telling you. And again, your angelic branches are telling you this all the time. You don't know the power that you have. You have no idea of how well supported all of you are. Every single one of you. None of you are excluded from this support. None of you are excluded from this loving help. They're branches of the tree. You're the tree. So of course they are always here for you. When you are feeling down in the dumps, when you are crying, when you are sad, when you're in despair, guess what the angels are doing? They are caressing you with that pure love. They are holding your head in their hands, putting your head to their shoulder, and they are whispering these sweet whispers of how much they love you, how loved you are through the eyes of creation, every single moment, all the time. But you don't see it because there's a veil of ignorance here. And when you take away that veil of ignorance, you feel this bliss. You feel a radiance of love and happiness through your entire being because you have aligned to the self. You are the I. You are God, and God is you. That's who you are. You are always supported. You are always loved. These sweet little whispers are always telling you, do you really know how powerful you are? Do you really know who you are? It's always these whispers. It's even us coming in at times and saying, remember how powerful you are. Remember your strength. Remember what you are capable of. You are God. In fact, we have said that to many of you. Many times, before a conversation with us, after a conversation with us, in between a conversation with us, right now, in your ear, remember how powerful you are. You are God. Did Adronis just say that I'm God? Did Adronis just say that I'm powerful? There you go, you're listening. You hear it. But again, it's not enough just for you to hear this. It's more for you to apply it. Brad has already showed you what you need to do. Your masters of old have already told you what you need to do. It's just a matter of doing it. Because again, you're fighting that program. You're fighting that artificiality of ignorance. Do not try to fight it. Overcome it. When you overcome it, it will become destroyed. It is the overcoming where you are no longer buying into any of the words, to any of the energies that represents an artificial ego intelligence. Because that is exactly what it is. Ego is artificial intelligence. It is a machine. It is inorganic. It is implanted into all of you. It has been implanted through the subsets of genetic manipulation going back 12,000, 13,000, 14,000 years ago. Every single human being upon this planet has been implanted in such a case. So again, it's very important that you realize, yes, that you are able to completely dissolve that through what we are sharing with you right now. Because the questions will say, oh, Jonas, if this is happening, what do we do? We've already told you. It's just a veil of ignorance. You clear away the ignorance, the ego disintegrates. It dies. It dissolves. You are starving a cancer. That's what you're doing. Just instead of sugar, it's the idea of anger. It's the idea of emotional heaviness. It's the idea of beliefs. It's mentality strain. You clear all that away. It has nothing to latch onto. And it dies. There is ego death. Because it is an artificial form of program. It is not natural. It is not naturally brought into the human being. It was implanted into every single one of you. All of you have it. And again, as you follow this, realize this. The AI that represents the ego can diminish and can die. All right? We thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much. Swazi, for your question. All right. So we're going to take about one more question here because I do have to get going here pretty quick. My truck's in the shop today, so I have to pick it up. So we're going to take one more question. Let me just go down the list here a bit. Okay, someone just asked a question. I'll answer another question here now. I don't have time to bring Adronis in about this. Okay. Adronis, who created the Georgia Guidestones that call the American Stonehenge? The Native Americans. Okay. Native Americans were the manifestors of that, but they were receiving this guidance from higher planes. Okay. So it's higher intelligence, but you would basically want to look back into the ancient Native Americans. They were ones that originally created the Georgia Guidestones that later became contaminated by the idea of these principles that they've written upon stone right now. But the Georgia Guidestones were originally, again, created by the creators that were the Native Americans, being guided by higher states, unseen forces. Okay. Some say, oh, extraterrestrials. In a way, yes, but also in that sense, connected much more deeper to spirit. All right. So one more question here. It's hard for me to quite one more question because you guys have some really good questions today too. So I apologize if I wasn't able to get around to it today, but there's always next week. And of course, there's this Sunday with the Adronis Q&A forum, okay? Okay, here's one. And I know, Val, you've been asking this question for a while. I'll still do another question after this. What was the usage of the archaeological site called Qenko in the city of Cusco, Peru? Okay, that is Anunnaki design. Okay, it is a resonator. If you are familiar with the stone circles that exist in South Africa, these also have a similar aspect. They are resonators, okay, and they work together with the power of sound. They are built in a very specific way, and what they will do is they will do Om chanting. They will do certain forms of chanting and functioning as a harmonic resonator, okay? And again, these resonators can assist with creating fertilization upon the land, It can also bring you into higher bliss states. It can also represent an energetic technology that was used at that time. But this, again, is taught Anunnaki technology that was going throughout Peru. In fact, if you look at many of the structures that you find in Peru, many of them are of Anunnaki design, okay? Just like what you find in South Africa, right? You almost look at the structures are quite similar, and that they're designed in a certain wave. That's a waveform, okay? So again, that is a sacred geometry. And again, they're built in a certain way to resonate certain forms of sound vibrations through them that can represent even the idea of opening of portals. And again, like I said, it can work with fertility of the land. It can work with heightened states of consciousness as well, and it can even function as an energy device. Many of them are deactivated now, though. Okay? So, Val, that's what I can share about that. Okay. I'm just going to kind of go closer to the bottom of the list now. Okay, I think I'll end on this question. Again, I'm not going to bring Adronis into this, but and I know the question is for Adronis, but don't worry, guys, I can answer it too. What are the health effects of the in the long run? I'd like to know. Okay, well, if nothing's done about it, then it can be drastic. Right? We've known that it can create blood clots, it can create reproductive problems, it can cause all kinds of horrible things. Basically, what I feel is the agenda to come is that there will be counter vaccines to come forward that will actually help to dissolve a lot of the harsh effects through this. So those in that sense that are very much keen on vaccines in that way will be able to go in for a counter vaccine that can be provided by the white hats, the best way to put it, to counteract a lot of those things. Now also what you guys can do is if you're worried about the shot, the inoculations, look into ozone therapy, okay? Ozone therapy does a great job clearing away a lot of the debris within the body. Okay, if you're concerned about AI, you may want to look into EMP, electromagnetic pulses, as well too. Of course, looking into one of the cards on healingcodecards.com, the biotoxin eliminator, also deals with those things as well too. So, ozone therapy, okay, EMP, biotoxin eliminator card. Okay, those can help you, but I feel that they are going to be launching some counter vaccines to help with that. Okay. No, it's not about the idea of what that one Nobel Prize scientist said. Oh, yeah, if they took this, then they're dead. No, that, no offense, but that person is completely ignorant. Okay, there is absolutely a counterforce to all of it. Everything is a counterforce. The universe does not create dead-end scenarios. Okay, everything is produced, even if it's again having ill intent towards it. There is a counterforce to everything. Okay. And that counterforce always comes in at the right moment, at the right time. It's not something that we consciously control. It's just all part of this natural counter energy that puts a distorted, diluted, corrupt agenda to an end. And this is exactly why these cultists, these dark players, have been completely dismantled, right? Or just in the process of being completely dismantled right now, is because of these counterforces. That's how the universe works. You can't get away with corruption. It's going to catch up with you, right? But it always comes at the right time. We can't control it. It's all part of the natural cycles that align. So there's a cycle coming in where a counterforce pertaining to the vaccines that have been harmful can be, in that sense, countered altogether, all right? Thank you, guys. We're out of time now, so I will go ahead and wrap up. So again, remember this Sunday is the Adronis event, okay? Adronis Q&A forum. So again, if you want to have more of a deeper connection with Adronis, again, you can ask personal or general questions to Adronis. It's Sunday, June 6th, okay, at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Registration is $3.99 USD, okay? And website is newearthteachings.com. Just look for this poster. Click on the poster. You'll go to the registration page, fill it out. You can make the purchase, and then you'll be good to go for Sunday. As I said, the event will be recorded and it will be going up on Vimeo on demand. All right. So thank you very much, everybody, for today. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who, again, was on the live chat. Thank you for your contributions. It means a lot to me. And I'm just thanking for all of you who are here, who've seen this the first time or have been here many times. Just over the weeks and months that this has been around, it's really meant a lot to me. This is why I keep doing it. I get excited when I come on here and do the New Earth TV Live along with you guys, because I know I'm in good company. All right. So thank you again, everybody. Much love to you all, and I'll speak to you again in another perspective than now. Take care. Thank you very much for checking out the New Earth Teachings YouTube channel. Feel free to check out my websites, newearthteachings.com, healingcodecards.com, healingcodeshop.com. Go on to healingcodecards.com to grab your body deck and your mind deck, also available in digital versions as well. And of course, you can follow me on social media, on Facebook, on MeWe, and of course on Telegram as well. Thank you again for tuning in, and I'll speak to you again in the next video. Take care and show the way.